Okay, everybody. It feels like everybody's broken up and we got to talk about it. Like, I don't know how this turned into a deep dive, but it turned into a deep dive and now I can't see what I can't unsee what I've seen. Let's talk. Like the video as the intro plays.
Make it make sense.
Make it make sense. Could somebody please make it make sense?
Big moves.
Never emotionally fulfill you, ever. Know that.
Make it make sense. Tell me how you squeeze it. Make it make sense. Tell me about the things that you see. Make it make sense. Tell me about the things of your dreams. Hey, let me work out all the things in between. Make it make sense. Tell me how you squeeze it. Make it make sense. Tell me about the things that you see. Make it make sense. Tell me about the things of your dreams. Hey, let me work out all the things in between. Make it make sense.
I help you. You need help? No. Okay.
I love Wendy. Okay, y'all. So I think we should start with Mia and Gordon. Let's definitely start with Mia and Gordon because they are the most recent ones to come out. Of course, People has the exclusive. People has the exclusive for basically everybody. It says RHOP star Mia Thornton separates from husband Gordon. Family is my number one priority. It says Mia Thornton and husband Gordon have separated after 11 years of marriage. Like all marriages, ours has had its ups and downs. The 38-year-old Potomac alum says, Gordon and I are separated, but my family is my number one priority, and I'm committed to doing whatever it takes to make sure we are okay. I absolutely believe that. We all know that Mia has not been my favorite housewife. However, what I will say is there is something refreshing about somebody who will just tell it like it is, and that's Mia. I'll remind you.
That you married Michael for his money.
Did you marry Gordon for his money?
I might have.
And Ashley will never answer that question. So Mia gained some points for me there. Definitely. We all know that Mia is a at all costs kind of lady, and at least she's upfront about it. Ashley wanted to pretend like she was all into Skeletor, but at the end of the day, we know that that was not necessarily true. Ashley was into getting a restaurant so that she could have her own money, so that there would never have to be any tents or bridges in her life again. However, when that didn't work, I wholeheartedly believe that she moved on to the next way to secure the bag, and you guys can do with that as you may. Let's continue with Mia. We ask that you respect our privacy and give us the time and space to figure things out. Mia and Gordon have been married since March 12th and share son Jeremiah Carter and daughter Juliana. Really cute kids. The couple's marital woes are expected to play out on season 8 of RHOP. Now, y'all, let's talk. Because she's been on the show now for 3 years. Is anybody surprised that this did not work out after it came out that, hold on, let me show you guys this. After it came out that Mia and Gordon were having financial issues, it says, Mia Thornton says her husband's brother stole all of their money. If the relationship was based on a lifestyle and now you can no longer lead that lifestyle, it could definitely cause friction. Additionally, if you think about it, Gordon has been accustomed to being the big boss for years. It's a lot of life changes. You marry a much younger woman. She has 2 children. So now you are raising very young kids again. You are retired. So you are no longer the big boss. I believe they said that, it became like a family business, integrated his brother into the situation. They became partners. Mia is now taking a forward role in the business. And now all of a sudden that is taken from you. That could cause some serious problems as it pertains to Gordon. Because I'm not just going to say that this would be Mia's fault just because Mia has been open about wanting money and then money's gone. So she's gone. No, I think Gordon probably has some culpability here as well. those are a lot of life changes. Now you're on reality television. You have these very young kids. You don't have the money coming in, and you're embarrassed when you've worked your whole life to achieve certain things. So I can imagine that there was a lot of friction in that marriage as a result, and now they're not together. Just saying. So if you guys don't remember, it says she said, please pray for our family. Gordon's brother, who we trusted to support and carry on the family legacy, has recently revoked his access to the company bank account while we are out of the country. Basically saying that it was a coup. The brother staged a coup. I think that they just didn't want Mia in the family business. Let me put my banner up because this could get ugly as we move into Monique and Chris. Because y'all know we got some diehard Monique fans. But I mean, am I surprised? No. Is it sad because they are two very young kids? Definitely. I definitely think that they had a great relationship while the money was there. And like in a lot of situations, once the money gets funny, then, it can cause major rifts in a potentially already fractured situation. So they are just separated. I don't know if they're actually going to get a divorce, but I will be paying attention to this story, especially since it's going to be playing out on RHOP. And y'all know I will be reviewing RHOP. So definitely check me out 8:30 p.m. Central after each episode drops on each Sunday night. Now let's get into Monique and Chris, because first off, again, people with the exclusive, people must be paying a nice chunk of money. It says the Real Housewives of Potomac alum Monique Samuels and ex finalized their divorce. Now, isn't it interesting that this news dropped on the same day that the trailer dropped? Like, guys, there would be no reason for people to get the exclusive unless they probably paid for the exclusive. And once you pay for an exclusive, then you can drop it at the most ideal time, which for a Monique Samuels story would be when the Real Housewives of Potomac trailer drops. That's just the way this goes. But it says Monique Samuels and Chris Samuels are officially divorced. The former couples, whose relationship was documented on both Bravo's Real Housewives of Potomac and owns Love and Marriage DC, finalized their divorce on Monday, September 25th. A rep for the Montgomery County Court tells People. Documents for the divorce have been sealed, but a judge signed off on the judgment after the pair's final hearing earlier this month. People has reached out to the pair for comment. Now that is a little interesting. So People is now paying clerk courts for the exclusives. Okay. I'm reading these things along with you. So that is very, very interesting to me that a clerk of the court would do that. But who knows who was behind the clerk of the court? Ooh. Okay, so anyway, I want to get into Monique and Chris because they had a very interesting story. I really, really, really did like Monique. Honest to God, Monique, when she came into the equation, I thought was one of my favorites. Especially how she gave it to Giselle. Monique was not to be played with those first couple of seasons. And I could see a couple things, but her ability to shut Giselle down like nobody else had was way more, I don't know, way more than the things that I saw. I was very pleased with her. And I was also pleased that she actually was the only one to bring an element of real wealth to the show. I believe Charisse, definitely did bring an element of wealth. But when Monique came, the ante was up. And it's no surprise that the clause came out because Potomac has kind of always been, that show that, it's a little bit of a struggle. Monique won our hearts.
You don't have a home? I have 4 homes. Okay. I ain't mad with you. Just run down the real estate information.
The problem that I had with her situation was it always felt like she was perfect Patty. And let me start with Chris. Before I get into Monique, let me start with Chris. I think that Chris wanted a beautiful woman who was going to be barefoot and pregnant and just kind of live in the lap of luxury, play the role, and just be a doting mom and a doting wife. I think that the power dynamic was always going to be off because, as we can see, Monique is a more motivated woman. Yes, she was a great mom. Yes, she planned the parties and things like that. But in marriage, just because you marry a person and they are one way does not mean that they cannot evolve past that. Now, some might say that she presented that she would be fine with that. I'm sure that they had those talks. Chris seemed like the person who wanted all these kids. If you watch the show from the beginning, they were talking about they needed a bigger home because their goal was 4 children. I just think that Chris was not prepared for Monique to come into her own. And I don't know that that's fair. I definitely don't. But then let's get into Monique. Monique, I've said this from the beginning. Once we found out that Monique was living in some pickup truck and she was homeless before she met Chris, that was the story that she should have shared with the audience. Not all of the I have $300 bottles of wine and my Bentley this and all that kind of stuff. The 4 homes perfectly acceptable, but the other stuff you could see that she used her material to try to fit in, and that was never going to be the case, Monique, because you were beautiful and you were the richest on the cast. They were going to hate you more so Giselle than anybody else. We heard it when Giselle started calling the man big boy. Yes, he was a big football player, but he was a big football player with 4 homes. Him and his wife both drove Bentleys, and they had gorgeous children and a beautiful family. Monique, that's all that you needed to win our hearts. But instead, you let Giselle's disdain for everything that you represent really take you there. And then the layers started getting peeled back after the fight with Candace because the preacher came in and basically gave us all of Monique's tea. Let me see. What did he say?
Because in your own mind, you are non-pareil. You are ideal. But you around these group of women, these friends in Potomac, who are not impressed with your own perfection. That causes you some.
And Monique couldn't handle that. He definitely read her the rights, told us about her being homeless prior, then let us know that Monique has a desire to present as perfect, which is what a lot of us have been saying from the beginning. It did not feel necessarily real. And Monique was one of the more real people. I get it. It sounds weird, but that's just where we were at with Monique. He then continued on and probably gave us a little insight into what was going on in the marriage. And she did not deny it, which means that these power structures were probably at the root of the issue.
You need to be honest with what's going on in your own heart. And that may be very hard for you because you're used to orchestrating and controlling and dominating.
That was a read. And he didn't even mean to read. He wasn't even trying to read her. But it plays into who Monique really was at the core. That was a piece of reality TV that we definitely rarely get because he had nothing to gain or lose. He did something that people very rarely do on reality TV, and he pulled back the curtain on what was really going on. Then after she was off Potomac, I think Monique still had a really strong desire to be on television. The Potomac thing, I'm sure was embarrassing. But when she got with Carlos King and decided to do Love and Marriage DC, I really do think that she thought that that would catapult her to another place and it would boost her ego. But that's not what happened. Love and Marriage DC was not for Monique what she thought it was going to be, even though the show basically revolved around her and her husband. It really gave insight into the fact that Monique isn't necessarily the most interesting person. And if you don't have her up against a Giselle who, is people love her or hate her, right? If you don't have her up against a Giselle who technically is a villain on the show, then maybe just not that interesting. So when we started seeing these clips of her and her husband saying, you know, we're not separated, we just don't live in the same house, and all these things, it was kind of like, if you're not really on television anymore, why are you talking about that? I think that Monique still had a desire to be famous, and I think that she's settled in her life now that she is on the radio. So she's going to be getting, I'm sure, a nice settlement. Monique's a good mom. Chris, although Monique said that, you know, he wasn't the most present father, I think that those children are going to be fine. I think Monique has her own income coming in, which is what she wanted. And if they weren't really compatible at the core, then you know, you have to do what you have to do to make you happy. But I know one person who is definitely going to be happy.
Get a job. No, I don't. You gotta get a job. No, I don't.
Why we need a job?
The mom never liked her. So when you combine the homelessness with them feeling like, you know, Monique was in it for the money, really, mom, you really did need to look at your son, though, because your son chose her. So if he chose her and he's happy with her and they are having children, then it was kind of like weird that the mother would be so into jabbing at Monique. It was kind of weird, definitely. But again, money was at the core of why everybody felt like Monique was initially with Chris, and it just kept coming out over and over again.
We need more space, like more rooms, but with the kids, and our goal number for kids is 4. Think about the future, baby. So
Again, the mom was dead wrong, especially for embarrassing her daughter-in-law on this television show, but it does give some credence to what everybody said. Remember, her snaggletooth friend Gigi had said that she was homeless and was after just football players, and Monique was actually, you know, the other woman. These are all allegations that Gigi made. But while we're talking about Snaggle Gigi, let's get into this, because I was doing this little bit of a deep dive and I forgot Cal said this. If you don't know who Cal is Giselle's, I guess, hairstylist.
I want to give her like 1, 2, 3, 4 of my teeth. You see the side of them, it like show up like.
What you should have been doing is giving Giselle better wigs. You had your number one client in your number one television client coming on this show for years looking like this. So I was definitely here for any time Cal got checked right alongside Giselle, because you deserve it. Catty, ridiculous, going into people's houses, judging them when we don't know if you have a pot to piss in. Just saying. I want to give her 4 more teeth. I want to give you some more classes on styling somebody's hair. That's what we needed to do, Cal. That was what you should have been focused on. But let's move into Kyle and Mauricio, because I, at this point, had not ever heard them specifically confirm that they are separated. And I'm going to give you guys a little bit of update on that court case that I talked about a couple days ago. But this is Mauricio in his own words.
You know, asking me what I said and what that looked like, and, you know, et cetera. And basically, I want to clear things up. Okay.
Okay.
Kyle and I are human beings. Okay. Mm-hmm. We have emotions. We have feelings. We're going through a really hard time. Okay. We are currently separated. Okay. We are not talking about divorce.
That is the first time that I've actually heard one of them confirm that they are separated. And again, it's very interesting that this is getting rolled out at a time where this lawsuit is picking up steam again. Mauricio very rarely does interviews like this, and now you're giving one flippantly to TMZ.
And we're dealing
with your company insignia on your hat.
We're trying to deal with this stuff internally, with ourselves. Privately. It's very hard when everybody interprets everything you said. When I answered the question on that podcast about where we stand, the question was, did Kyle and I plant the story in order to create ratings, in order to create all kinds of different things? And the answer was, we did not plant the story. As a matter of fact, at the time that the story came out from people.com, Kyle and I were not separated. And that's what I was referring to. We were not separated. And we were dealing with our own issues internally, and it all came out, and et cetera, et cetera. That story has made us a lot stronger. We've now had to have conversations with our kids. We've had conversations with our family. That's actually brought us closer together, and it's been really, really nice.
Yeah. Whatever. So, they're actually separated. Now, is Kyle a lesbian? I don't know. I wasn't in bed with the woman, so I don't know. But these are the rumors that are out there. So I got it there. So I got it in my streets, and I'm not one to gossip, but I'd be letting y'all know what the streets be saying. So yes, we don't know if she's technically a lesbian. They just continue to deny it. Is the relationship weird? Sure. What I will say about their marriage, now that they are separated, is Kyle was probably tired of always being the one running. It looked like she was running behind Mauricio. Always having to run behind Mauricio. Mauricio letting this woman dance all up on him way back in the day. She always looked like the thirsty one. And now she looks like, the sugar mama. And she seems very, very happy. It's a real coy smile with this woman sitting on your lap. Again, Kyle got with Mauricio before Mauricio had money. I think, and this is just my opinion, I think that Mauricio had his eye on the prize. Mauricio actually wanted to be an actor. Believe it or not. Mauricio wanted to be an actor. And now, once that didn't really pan out for him, he gets with Kyle and starts working for Kyle's brother-in-law at Hilton and Highland, i.e. the Hiltons, who own the company. And they allege that he came in, became a great salesperson, and then took clients with him when he wanted to start his own business. The agency is now one of the premier real estate agencies on the globe. He's now worth $100 million on his own, which affords Kyle things like $1 million in Birkins. Kyle, again, of this list of women, was one of the few women who married for actual love, not money, because baby Kyle, this is all she could get. Her first husband, Garage. He was a millionaire, but she was 19. Here's the thing. You have Kathy, who's with the Hilton, Kim, who had married a millionaire and then dumped him for a oil tycoon's son and then couldn't sustain it. I think probably because of the substance abuse issues that were going on. But either way it goes, and she didn't really love him. The point being, of the Hilton or the Richard sisters, Kyle was the only one who actually married for love. And marrying for love netted her combined net worth of $100 million after, all of the allegations of the stuff that Mauricio has done on the scamming side of real estate, allegedly.
He stole my goddamn house!
So while we're there, if they're separated, again, if Kyle has found love in a different type of package, that's on Kyle. Good for her if that's the direction that she actually ends up going. I don't know that they had a prenup because they've been married for so long and he didn't have anything when they met. So she's probably going to get half if they actually divorce. So kudos to Kyle. Now back to this whole still in the house thing. So apparently now Mauricio, if you didn't see my video on Mauricio and his alleged scam, definitely check that out. I'll link this at the end of the video. But apparently Mauricio is now mad that they have come forward with the text messages that prove that he had in fact defrauded the government. So he's mad because he's saying that, well, you didn't present these in a timely enough manner. And the statute of limitations has run out. He's not saying that these alleged text messages are fake or are not proof that he really did have a higher bid for that home that he ended up buying himself and making a $32 million profit on, or $37 million profit. My bad. He made $37 million, allegedly defrauding the government and the people of, I think it's Equatorial Guinea, allegedly. So, yeah, I told you guys I would tell you guys if there were any updates. Well, this is the most recent update. He's now suing the person suing him and asking that their attorney and he be sanctioned for now presenting text messages of Mauricio defrauding the government. Crazy, right? Let's move on to Kim Zolciak, because I don't like Kim Zolciak. I never did. Well, I never did once I figured out what type of person she was. She was very entertaining the first couple seasons on the show, smoking, drinking, sleeping with married men, buying Escalades. But that life has caught up to her. And now she's a sad person and she lies a lot. And she's getting her retribution because she came on the show with people of color and made very disparaging comments about Black women who actually have their own money and you don't. And apparently you never did. And we have now found out that it wasn't just Big Papa supporting your lifestyle. According to Nene, there was another married man that had bought her townhouse that we saw her in the beginning of RHOA. But of course, to all of these Black and minority women,
everybody is jealous.
June from Altoona, Pennsylvania said, Kim, it's clear your parenting skills are
everybody wants her life. Alleging that these women had rental Royces and everything else. And my all-time favorite RHOA song. Okay. So anyway, to Kim and her court case. To Kim and her very, very, very sad court case. It said, this was just a couple days ago, judge ruled that Corey can sell the home because the home is about to be foreclosed again. I broke the story. Kim denied that the house was going to be foreclosed, talked about us bloggers, all these things. However, the home is going to be foreclosed on.
Okay, you guys, my house was not sold for $257,000.
Remember that? You spent all that money on these flowers just to say that your house was not sold for $257,000, but it was. That was your second mortgage.
Okay, you guys, my house was not sold for $257,000.
It was. Due to lack of funds, Kim was not asked to move out, but Kim was ordered to sleep in the basement, the maid's quarters. And Croy gets the master bedroom. Both have access to kitchen. They have no money to afford a GAL for children. Estimated cost was $50,000. Monthly income for Croy is $4,500 from his football pension. So he's down to $4,500 a month. Kim's income from clickbait on their Facebook, it's estimated at $5,000 a month. So if you follow Kim on Facebook, what she does is she allows this company to post all these like clickbaity titles, and it just redirects you to other websites. So their bills are $50,000 a month, and they are only bringing in $9,500. What happened to her $10 million skincare line? Water has already been turned off in the house. You can't afford the water bill, and has been turned on back due to hardship. So Georgia residents, they in their mansion are getting hardship water off your dime. Okay. Kim and Brielle share the Range Rover. Shouldn't it say Kim and Brielle share the Dodge Durango that they bought from Monique Samuels? Because why are you even still in a Range Rover? How can you afford the upkeep? Croy gets the Escalade. Put him in, I don't know. Let's give Croy a F-150. You don't need an Escalade. Go ahead and just give him a pickup truck. So, maybe he can find a good job. Like he's still big. So maybe he can do like some labor, right? Put him in something like that. Since 2002, Kim has borrowed a total of $250,000 from a friend. Who might that friend be? And what were you doing with the friend? I hear Kyle is single. And we all know Kim doesn't mind, So shout out to the good, the bad, and the fake. I literally have reached out to the good, the bad, and the fake to see if they want to come on because they have kept their foot on Kim's throat. And we might connect at some point to give you guys some updates, but they are actually going to the court. So let me read to you what else it says. It said, Kim argued that she just had neck surgery and needed to sleep in the master bedroom on the expensive mattress. And Croy spoke up and said that she just spent 2 weeks in Colombia on a cheap queen mattress and did just fine. So they said, you have to stay in the maid's quarters, which is the basement. The judge told both of them to think about their children because they are watching everything they do. She also told Kim to act like a lady. And Kim had a motion to dismiss based on the fact that her and Croy are, still. And the judge said, absolutely not. So this is Kim's life. Kim, the woman who definitely read these Black well-to-do women and tried to make them feel like they were less than her with her rent a center life, is now in, I would say, poverty. She's destitute, desperate, dusty, and aging. However, I will say that this plastic look, some older rich man will pick up Kim. Some older rich man, mark my words, will pick up the pieces for Kim Zolciak. I guarantee. It never fails. They always bail her out. Anyway, I gotta go. This was not supposed to be a deep dive. To all the people who have young children who are now separated, it really does suck. However, life has to go on. If you're not happy in your relationship, move on. Find somebody that will make you happy. And I'm gonna see you guys on the next one. Have a good day.